Everyone, I am CA Nakul Arora, moderator of this webinar. We are delighted to welcome you all in the webinar being organized by the Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICAI. It is my pleasure to be a moderator for webinar on cybersecurity awareness and considerations while drafting the director's report. In a short while, we will start this webinar. I would like to apprise you about CPE committee. The increasing globalization, continuing developments in the field of finance, and frequent changes in the world of economic order have posed numerous challenges before the accounting profession worldwide. These challenges have significant implications on the growth and development of our profession, and simultaneously have more expectations from the profession. It is indeed the responsibility of the professional bodies to provide members with adequate facilities and opportunities to meet the challenges thrown by the dynamic environment by continuously enhancing their knowledge, skills, and professional values. With this vision, the CPE Committee of ICAI has been organizing several programs with the help of our program organizing units. We are pleased to inform that ICAI is organizing its first ever Global Professional Accountants Convention, which is abbreviated as GLOPAC, on the theme Connecting the Globe, Creating Value from November 24th to 26th, 2023 at Mahatma Mandir Convention Center in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, India. GLOPAC is being celebrated as a mega event to display the important role that the accountancy profession has been playing in building stronger and more stable economies around the globe. It would provide an opportunity to the global market to network with the best F&A talents in India. Now, I shall share a small introductory video about GLOPAC.
It gives me immense pleasure to announce that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has decided to organize its first ever Global Professional Accountants Convention, GLOPAC, on the theme Connecting the Globe, Creating Value on November 24th to 26th, 2023 at the Mahatma Mandir, Gandhinagar in India. GLOPAC is being celebrated as a mega event to showcase the important role that the accountancy profession has been playing in the economic and social development of our country.
Globalization has made the world one village, and the services of chartered accountant are also available globally without any boundaries. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is also devoting significant efforts towards global networking. The convention shall be attended by more than 3,000 delegates from around 40 countries. I would like to extend a warm welcome to the fraternity on behalf of ICAI to attend and participate in the first ever GLOPAC.
ICAI is geared up to welcome delegates from across the globe at the GLOPAC.
Thank you to the CPE committee and all the audience for their patient listening. Now I will move on towards the session. The program for this evening is as follows. We have 2 sessions of 1 hour each. The topics are firstly cybersecurity awareness session, and which will be followed by considerations while drafting director's report. Our eminent speakers will talk about above mentioned 2 emerging areas of professional interest. So the medium of communication should be only English, as participants from across the globe will be attending the program. My email.
Nakulji?
Yes.
Nakulji, just I would like to inform to the participant as well. Here, one small announcement I can say. Of course, the chairman is Purushottam Kandwalji. He is not available today due to some meeting. And vice chairman, Sir Gyanchand Mishraji, he would be joining later on in around 4 o'clock for his address. And of course, on behalf of in absentia of both and on behalf of the committee, as secretary of the CP committee, I would like to extend my thanks to Kaushikji and to CA Kamal Gargi for joining us in today's webinar. Thank you very much, sir, to both of you for joining us in today's session. And one important announcement I can say, of course, already we have taken this initiative. Like you know, sir, this year from 2023, in place of rolling period of 3 years, that CP requirements has been made applicable for the calendar year wise, like 2023, the next would be 2024. Last month, the committee has taken an initiative for the members to send individual mass mail. I hope all you must have received that mass mail informing you what is your COP status, what is the applicability of CP, means how much you require 20 structured or 20 unstructured, and what is remaining there as on date of that email. And this facility, sir, we have started, last month only, first time that mass mail was sent to all the members across globe, because this is the global platform. So by this mean, I would like to inform, since it was the first time that mail was suited to the various category of members, COP, non-COP, abroad, exempted category members. So might be there was some discrepancy in some of the mailers, some very few. So we have received the feedback also, and since this is a regular feature, we would be sending at the end date of every month, informing the current CP status as on that day, how many are remaining for the year. So from the next, that would be corrected based on the feedback. And it is a very humble request to all the members, you please, because today we are in October and 2 months are there, December, November and December. So all you please complete your CP compliance in the respective categories, what is applicable to you for this calendar year, because there is no carry forwarding of this CP hour and there would be no generally extension. So it is humble request, because we have enough time, committees and POE, they are organizing enough CP programs, and there are various ways of earning this structured CP, unstructured CP hour. So please comply and complete with gaining of knowledge before end of this year. This is a request. Thank you very much. Nakulji, to you.
Thank you so much. We are really grateful of such an important information to Mr. Ajit Natriwari. Thank you so much. Now it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce our first speaker of the session, Mr. Kaushik Pandya. He has a diploma in electronics engineering, DERE, in 1987, extensive information and technology training, and certificates related to the networking and servers. A certified national cybersecurity scholar and NSD certified cybersecurity governance professional. Founder president of FITAG, the Federation of IT Associations of Gujarat. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome the honorable speaker on the topic of cybersecurity awareness session. Thank you, Mr. Pandya, for joining us, and I would request you to enlighten us with your words of wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you, Nakulji. My pleasure to be here on the platform of ICAI, and I'm thanking ICAI committee member to give this opportunity to me to give an insight on cybersecurity awareness, which is basically a specialization of mine. Is my screen visible properly?
Yes, sir. It is there. Yeah.
All right, good. So, why are we talking about cybersecurity awareness? I mean, Nakulji has already given my introduction properly, and just to add one more thing into whatever he has said, that I have been leading Federation of All India IT Associations also as a president, and now I am working as an advisor of FITA, which is an association, a federation of 100 plus associations across India. So my mainstream subject is cybersecurity. As he mentioned, I am a cybersecurity national scholar, as well as I am a GRC professional. And I've been taking up a lot of sessions during past month also, as well as in this month also across India, mainly because this particular month, October, is the month known as the cybersecurity awareness month across the world. It is not across India, it is across the world. This was started in 2005 by United States of America, and later it was adopted by us also in India, as most of the worlds are now celebrating this particular world as Cybersecurity Awareness Month. The cyber security and the cyber threats have become so largely spreaded and effective normal day-to-day life of you and me, that these kind of sessions are now becoming mandatory and very much required. So that is why these sessions are there. What will be the intake as far as it is concerned to all the people, those who are participating into this seminar, is basically we will talk about 6 different topics. Under that, there will be quite a few, a lot of subtopics. But the first one is that why do we need cybersecurity awareness? Second one is the backup and updates, and third one is the passwords. The fourth one is MFA and 2FA. The fifth one is internet and internet safety and email, and the fifth one is basically phone scams and privacy concerns. So these are the 6 topics we will be touching upon. I would rather treat it as touching upon, because we all these subjects can take one full day. So touching upon all these subjects in 1 hour is the maximum which we can do. So that's what we will look into. As Nakulji mentioned, I am leading a company called Kalp Systems, which is based in Ahmedabad. We are an IT solutions company past 35 years, and we are also into cybersecurity domain and information security domain past 10 years. I am an information security lead auditor of 2022 also. So why cybersecurity awareness is needed? So primarily, everybody believes that why it is not a mandatory requirement. It is not jab zarurat hogi, we will do it, and all those kind of things. As and when needed kind of a thing, an approach normally people take for the cybersecurity awareness approach. But why they take this approach? Because of they feel that we have deployed the necessary technology, we have everything what is required, we have firewall, we have antivirus, we have these, that, all those things. But no, that's not the only thing which is required. There are four main, because the audience which is listening to this particular conversation is purely technical, and they are mainly into chartered accountancy. I would rather put this in a little bit technical terms, that there are 4 main pillars upon which the cybersecurity is based upon. The first one is the operational one. The second one is basically it's OPPT. The second one is the people. So the people needs to be trained, because they are the weakest link of all the 4 pillars. All the people, those who are in concern with operations, are normally they are being used, and they are being trapped, and they are the people, those who are falling prey to all the kind of traps which have been given by cyber threat hunters. And that is why the people's training are mostly important. The third one is the privacy, and the fourth one is technology. So technology itself is not the only one thing which will protect you. You also need to train your people. You also need to get yourself trained in such a manner that you always remains updated. It applies to your employees, it applies to the business owners, it applies to the parents, kids, seniors, everyone. So that is why we are conducting this cybersecurity training. Most of the people believe that I am the least, interested kind of a person who, an attacker or a threat hunter would be interested into. But no, that's not the fact. I mean, everyone in this particular era of big data, or the importance of the data, or the expanse of the data is such that every individual is so important to these threat hunters, that they would be looking for your credit card and financial data, the medical data, the computer resources, which can be leading to a larger network, or any such user credentials, or any email credentials, or any other kind of credentials which you are using in a regular day-to-day manner. So what do you do normally, when you are supposed to use technology in today's world? Nothing can be done without using the technology. So when you're supposed to use the technology, what do? How do you help yourself? So rather than crying for a help all the time, it's better that you prepare yourself, you get yourself trained, you get yourself prepared or learn in such a way that it can protect yourself. So the first thing which we would be talking about, under this particular thing, is backup and updates. So backups are very highly essential kind of a parameter, which we normally, as cybersecurity practitioners, we see cybersecurity as two major verticals. One is the defense, and the other one is offense. Offense are the people, those who try to get into somebody's computer, somebody's network, try to hack them and try to do all sort of negative aspects or negative work in relevance with trying to hack or trying to catch some detail from the others. Defense is basically people like us, those who would prepare an organization or an individual, or both organization as well as individuals, to defend themselves in relevance with whatever the hackers or whatever the threat actors would be looking at you to get the information from you. So under defense, the very first and foremost thing which is required is the backups. So backups will give you the statistic, a little bit statistic. This slide itself gives you. Only 25 users takes backup yearly. 20% user takes monthly. 11%, only 11% take 11% of the users take the backup daily, and 20% never take their backup. That is disastrous. So you have to have a backup, because if you do not have the backup, your computer is hacked, or if your computer is attacked by a ransomware, or it is attacked by any of the other kind of a malware where the control of your computer is gone, or probably your data access is gone, then the only way you can retrieve or you can survive is if you have your backup. So it is a very good practice to keep your backup on a daily basis. If you're not able to keep it on daily basis, at least alternative days, or at least twice in a week or thrice in a week should be a regular practice, depending on the size of the organization and size of the data which you are carrying along with you. And most importantly, when you are taking the backups has to be restored also once in a while and checked for whether those backups which you have taken are working or not. Third most important thing for the backups are basically that you should not be taking up backups on your local drive always upon which you are working. The backups should be on a different place, either on an external drive or on a cloud, or on both, on an external drive as well as on a cloud. One copy on your external drive and one copy on a cloud, every alternatively. That can be the best practice one would adopt. And I would rather tell you that I would rather suggest you to have at least twice in a week, you should have the backup. The updates, the software updates, which are very much required and very much essential as far as the security is concerned. Why? The softwares which you are using, like you are using any accounting software, or if you are using Tally, or if you are using Windows, or if you are using MS Office, whatnot, all the softwares which you are using are basically prone to have bugs within itself. The reason is very clear that whenever a software is invented, it cannot be a foolproof kind of a software, and it always keeps on carrying lot of vulnerabilities into it, which will come to notice only at certain particular time period when somebody notices. There are people, those who are specifically doing this job to find out bugs into these kind of softwares, and they are known as bug bounties. These bug bounties are basically their job is to find out, to work on smaller to larger platforms of such softwares and try and find out the bugs, and draw an attention of the owner of the application or the software to patch it, or to close that vulnerability in such a manner that it doesn't affect the user who is utilizing that particular software. So every day, thousands of vulnerabilities are identified, and they are introduced, and they are given to the vendors, and those vendors introduces patches. And those patches are, if you do not upload those security patches, your softwares would never be an updated software, and you are the most vulnerable identity over the network if you have not updated your softwares. So that is why your softwares are required to be updated. Most of the license packages or license softwares or license proprietary things which we are using are normally designed or enabled in such a manner that the updates are automatically downloaded and installed on those machines, or those packages are updated. But if you have been using such kind of softwares where the manual updates are also required, you should keep a practice to do the updates on a very regular periodical manner. So this includes everything. This includes your browsers, this includes your operating systems. Please do not use Windows 7 anymore, because Windows 7 is out of use. Microsoft has stopped providing any support on this. That means that there will be no patches released for Windows 7, and there will be no security updates on Windows 7, and automatically in that case Windows 7 will become the most vulnerable operating system. You must update your antiviruses, you must update your browsers. So because one would feel that why do you need to update the browsers? But no, browsers are the most vulnerable tool over your computer, or a device or a program over your computer to enter a malware into it. Most of the malwares which are introduced in any of the computer or single computer or network computer are introduced and are getting into your computer through browsers. So always update your browsers. Do not even ignore it. Third point is basically a passwords. So this, a small banner talks about everything, that somebody figured out my password and now I have to rename my dog. So most of the people, they try to keep the passwords which they can remember. That is wrong. So they always keep their name, their birthday, their small kind of things, which would be easier for them to remember. So that's wrong. The password should be complicated. It should be designed in such a manner that it becomes difficult to crack. And there are certain practices which I would rather tell you in the next slides. But there are a few very important kind of things, that you do not keep your passwords on, do not write it on piece of papers, do not keep it on stickies, do not keep those passwords into plain Word file or Excel files. and keep it open. I mean, if you tend to keep your passwords in Excel file, I rather advise to keep those Excel files. I mean, keep those passwords as categorically into different kinds of Excel files, and have those Excel files also protected with passwords. But rather, the best practice which I would rather suggest to you is to go in for a password manager. These are some examples of the password managers: Bitwarden, KeePass, LastPass, Apple Keychain, Chrome. These are all the password managers which one can utilize. And these password managers are very well designed. They are mostly safe. And if you use it in a proper manner, there are good benefits, like you need to remember only one password, and your passwords are stored securely, and normally they are autofilled on your reliable websites. And it can be there can be a sync between your laptop, desktop, and your mobile also, in case if you're using those password managers at all the different levels. So I would rather suggest and advise you to use a password manager in case if you have too many passwords to remember and use with. The password tips: avoid using items like address, child name, phone numbers, birth dates, pet name, sports name, all these kind of things. Please avoid them. Instead of that, you should have different kind of combination. I'll come to that. Separate passwords. Keep separate passwords for every accounts. I've seen so many people, those who are keeping a single password for multiple accounts. If there are multiple bank accounts, they keep only one password for all those multiple bank accounts. So if your one of the password is compromised, you're gone. You may, if somebody is following you, and if you're spearfished, and if they are really following you properly, then probably if one of your password is leaked, your entire information and maybe is gone, or probably your financial you may be financially very largely compromised also, in case if it happens to you. So do not please keep separate password for every account. Some economics for you, some numbers for you. 42% rely on sticky notes for password management, which is wrong. 52% reuse password for multiple accounts, as I said, which is absolutely wrong. 59% use their names and birth dates, or combination of name and birth dates, as their password, which is again very vulnerable. 13% reuse same password for all accounts. This is disastrous. So please don't do that. I would rather come to a kind of a suggestion wherein you can keep passwords with a combination of four different things together. One is the capital letter, the other one is a small letter, the third one is the symbol, and the fourth one is the characters. So these are the four things which would give you a combination of these four things would give you a rather very strong password. And at least you should have 8 characters of a password. The last line is the greatest password, which is basically how it looks like. That is, my son was born November 1995 with an exclamation mark. You have 2, 3, 4 capital letters, you have other small letters, you have numbers also, you have symbols also, and it is a long password. So longer the passwords, it is less prone to be detected and compromised. So these are the 20 most common password. I would rather skip this slide and go to the next, because this is most important for you to know. Number of characters. This table shows that number of characters in your password, how good they are, and how more vulnerable they are. So 4 characters can be broken up instantly. Even numbers and lower cases, and number of lower cases, higher cases, and even numbers, upper lower letters, as well as all the 4 things. But only 4 characters is highly vulnerable to be cracked. So this is a table which shows you, if you go to 18 characters of a password length, only numbers can also take 3 weeks to break. Then if you go to all the 4 combinations, it can take 438 trillion years to break if you have 18 characters. So that's the most and safest kind of a password which anyone I would rather advise you to use. and these passwords, I mean, you would rather wonder that how these people are trying to break the passwords. But today's threat hunters or the hackers, they have bots. They use password cracking bots, which are able to work on any computer, any network, any server, any firewall, any damn kind of an IT asset which has a password into it, and it can definitely crack these kind of combinations in so rapid speed that these checking up kind of multiple combinations for 10 digits or 10 characters passwords is not a difficult kind of a task for them. So that is why we always recommend that have an utmost complex password. Every password, every account should be having a different password and different combinations. That would save you, and that would save your life, that would save your financials, that would save your data. Although 12 million accounts have been stolen and hacked, every year. So go to that black label, which is at the bottom right corner, which can help you in finding out that have I been pawned.com. Please take a note of this, have I been pawned.com. So you can go to this particular site and key in your email and find out that whether your email have been compromised or your password of that email have been compromised. Even by you may feel that it is not even compromised so far. So, but if you go to this particular site and you put on your email ID, you would find that whether it is really compromised in the past or not. So try this. We always advise that you should use a multi-factor authentication. Most of the emails which are email services or banking services or whatever kind of services which you are using nowadays, including your operating system, are providing you two-factor authentication, minimum two-factor authentication, and there are certain tools and certain softwares which are offering you multi-factor authentications. So basically, two-factor authentication is what? It is beyond username and password. So once you enter a username and password, you would be prompted for an OTP or OTP on your email or OTP on your mobile number which has been registered, or even on both, to give you an utmost security. I have noticed in very recent past that some of the banks have already started providing you an 8-character OTP, 4 on one registered device, that is your mobile, and the other 4 on your email. So that's the utmost safe, most practice which they are trying to adopt. So the OTPs have different method to being sent to you, that is on SMS or phone calls or emails and phone pop-ups and applications. Like there are authenticator applications also. SMS and phone calls are not very secure, but normally we suggest that whenever you are using any banking application, whenever you are using any credit card application, any financial transactions, even if you are using UPI or any kind of financial transaction happening over the internet, they should be enabled with a 2FA minimum, and if possible, wherever they are offering, you should have a multi-factor authentication also. So that's very important, MFA and 2FA. We will talk about some other very important nuances which are very much market prevailing nowadays, and everyone must have heard of this. So what is ransomware? Ransomware is basically, your computers are taken on a ransom, like a American cowboy film. Somebody takes or abducts somebody and ask a ransom for that particular person. The same way here, your computer is ransomed. Your complete data within your computer is encrypted. Now, how is that possible? That is possible by the means of inserting a malware into your computer. Now, the next question: how would somebody insert a malware into my computer when my antivirus is on, enabled, and still, how is it possible? It is possible because the antivirus is not all the time aware of any new introduction. So whenever you have a new introduction, I'm just citing an example, uh, which is not true in all the cases, but I'm citing one of the examples to you, which will give you an idea that how these ransomwares enter into your computers. So whenever you are browsing any of your whatever you're doing on the internet with the help of a browser, the browser is basically the most vulnerable application, as I said earlier also, and it allows the smallest portion of a malware getting into your computer through any other site of any kind of site which they have used, maybe a e-commerce site, maybe any other site, or maybe a general news site, whatever. So a small portion of a malware gets inserted into your computer, and then that small portion will keep on calling other portions of the ransomware on different instances. So the building up of ransomware into your computer will take probably a week or 10 days or 15 days. But once that process is complete, the entire program is into your computer, and it automatically builds itself, and then it runs automatically. And when it runs, it encrypts the complete data within your computer, and it changes the extensions of all the files, like your docs or your excels or even your tally data, or even any of other your financial data is turned into an encrypted file. For those files to retrieve, they ask you to get an decryption key, and that decryption key, for what they would charge you in bitcoins, in dollars. So very huge amount which you have to pay in case if you do not have the backup. That is why I have mentioned that backup is must. So at the most, what will happen, that probably if you are ransom, your 1 day data or 2 day data is gone, in case if you're taking regular backups on alternative days or on daily basis. But if you're not taking your backup at all, probably you would lose a large amount of data, which would put you in a kind of a very awkward kind of a situation where the time is money, and you're running out of time, when specifically when there is a community of chartered accountants listening to this. It is a very, very, very much important learning, that you must keep a backup to remain safe. There is no tool which will save you from ransomware, because every day there is a new introduction of ransomware, and every day there are new programs which are being. These are basically programs which will run into any of the computer, which will get into any computer, like what I have explained, and then it will encrypt all your files. There are no remedies to this. So the only remedy you have is basically to keep your backup, keep you safe. So this I've already explained. That some important thing is that beware of phishing emails, because phishing emails are the other most important way to get a malware. So most of the malwares either comes through browsers, or it comes through phishing emails. It may come through your company email, it may come through your personal email, and as I've already mentioned earlier, that do not store your passwords into text files or Excel files. Also, stop using or avoid using USB charging ports at public places, specifically like airports or any other public place wherein you have only a USB port. If you really need to charge any of your devices, a laptop or a phone or anything like that, please use the entire charger with the plug. Do not use only the USB port, because the USB plug which is there wall mounted can be compromised, and it may insert a malware, or it may insert a ransomware into your computer, or it may try to take up your data in a split of a second. You would not know that what is happening. So please avoid using that. Also, avoid using public Wi-Fi's like in trains or in restaurants or in airports or in hotels. Try avoid using those kind of Wi-Fi networks. You can have your data in your mobile, which can be used very easily nowadays, and it is costing nominal. So that's a beautiful practice which normally one should adopt. The wire frauds. So this is important for you. So I'm explaining in little depth that wire frauds are basically, the emails which comes from a CEO or a CFO or any CXO giving directives to their employees that please remit this much amount to me immediately because I am in a tour and that person might be actually traveling and I am in a tour and I am in a need of a money. So please send me those this much of amount immediately. Those kind of emails would come from that particular CXO's actual email ID, which you would feel that it is an actual email ID. But that email ID is faked, it is dummied, and you have been sent an email from that dummy email or a fake email ID. There are ways to know that how do you know that? But whenever you receive these kind of email, please do not immediately take action or send or remit any money to these kind of emails. There would be a bank account mentioned, or there would be a UPI link mentioned that please remit the money on this kind of thing. Please do not do that. There are ways and means that the emails, if you go and hover over to that particular email ID, which is showing you that it has come from the CXO, it will probably show you the actual name behind that dummy email which has been created. So there are multiple ways, but you can definitely contact your service provider. You can definitely contact people like us, those who will guide you that what kind of precautionary actions you can take. Or the most important thing is that as soon as you receive such mail, you can definitely call that guy and find out that you send that this kind of a mail to me to send you money. And if he confirms, because he is your CXO, so you might be, or you will be definitely having a connect with him. May not be a direct connect, but through somebody, or maybe your immediate boss. So you can connect with those particular higher ups or your CXOs and verify it. And then if it is required, if it is an urgent need, if it is verified, then only you can do that. So most important thing. So four important thing is that whenever you are doing such kind of a thing, that please verify that are you really expecting a link. Emails, you would get a lot of links, and if you click on any of the links, you would run into trouble because those links would be carrying phishing links, and those links would be carrying malware's insertion, so many things. So whenever you are seeing a link which is emailed to you, or it is shown to you in one or the other way, please verify that are you expecting a link or not. Do you really, whether that link can be available through a social media also, because nowadays social media is becoming very prominent, and everybody uses, or everybody follows, or everybody clicks on the links which are available on the social media. So which is a dangerous practice. So don't do that. Second thing is hover over on those links. So when you hover over on those links, you would really, that will show you the correct destination of where that link will take you to. So that can be, a diversion, that can be a dummy link, which it is taking you to something which is not you're supposed to go to. You would probably fall in a you will fall prey to, or you'll fall in a trap, wherein you can probably spend money or lose money. Third thing is you can do a sniff test, where the sniff test is actually, doing a sniffing test that was this thing looks, or was this particular email, or was this particular, or is this particular link which is in front of you is expected or not. So if you recognize and if it is expected, then only click on it. And if you are any of the three things is saying no to you, please delete it. So these are most important things. I would rather speed up on these things in the interest of time. But there are so many other easy ways wherein you can get the red flags. Email addresses, domain names, expected email or interesting links. These are very, prominent things. Known email accounts. So do you have a known email account, or it is coming from something very vague? If it comes from very vague kind of an email account, please try to avoid those things. These are the text messages examples. You may receive it on your mobile, and if it looks like a proper SMS, then only entertain it. Nowadays, there is a practice. Just to cite an example, there is a practice that you may receive a kind of an SMS, which would say that your electric bill is not paid, and if you do not pay it by 9:30 today evening, your electric connection will be disconnected. This kind of a regular prevailing SMS comes to so many people. It has come to me also. So please understand that no electric company sends these kind of messages. And if you also receive this kind of message, ignore it. You can definitely try and call on the number which is mentioned on your invoice, on the bill, which is your toll-free number, which is a properly connecting number. Do not call on the number which is mentioned in that particular link, or do not click on the link which is given on that particular link. Otherwise, you will fall definitely a prey to these kind of things. As I said, hover over on those links. It would, like here it is treetopsecurity.com, but if you really hover over on that, it will take you to evil.com. So these kind of things are very important. So I am skipping this business email compromise. I would rather, why I'm skipping this? Because I would rather want to take you to phishing. So phishing is very important aspect of cybersecurity awareness. There are multiple types of phishing skills or phishing tactics available or prevailing into the market, and I should be making you aware of all the phishing tactics which are now prevailing into the market in next 5-10 minutes, and then we will lead to the end of the session. Phishing is basically that when scammers wants you to think they are someone you trust in order to do something, in order to make you do something. So when somebody, you are trusting somebody, or you are that guy is prevailing upon you, or he is fooling you around in such a manner that you would start feeling that, oh, this guy is a trustable guy, and why I should not, I shouldn't trust him, those kind of things. And then when you trust him, it will lead you to such a kind of a situation wherein you are losing your financial data, or you're losing your actual financials, your money or your data, or both. So there are 7 types of phishing scams you should be knowing about. The first thing is email phishing scams. So all the emails, these kind of emails, when it comes to you, it may look like an email from your bank, from Paytm, from Google Pay, from Amazon, from even your CEOs also, as I mentioned earlier. So these kind of mails would look very, very, very similar to what you have been receiving from these different instances, from your bank, from your credit card, from your any other kind of a thing. But when you inspect them in a regular, in a proper manner, wherein you check the sender's mail, when you check for the actions which are mentioned into that, wherever it is leading to you, wherever it is redirecting you to, if you check all these things, you would come to know that these are the fake mails. So this is the most prevailing practice as far as the phishing is concerned. So, like, this kind of a thing, sign in attempt was blocked for your linked Google account. Now, if you receive this kind of a mail, you probably, when you are rigorous user of a Google Mail account, you would immediately barge into it or start having a look at it, that what has happened to my Google account, and that will probably lead you to a trap. So be careful about it. This is the first method of it. Second method is spear phishing scams. Spear phishing is in actual sense when they target you, one individual specifically. They may target one individual or a small group of individuals specifically, and they monitor them for a very long time period. And then they try to get into their circles, like their family members, their colleagues, and they try to know so many things about you. They probably know your habits. They know where do you go, where do you come from, what time do you come, what time do you go, what kind of password changing habits do you have, what kind of emails you are accessing to, so many things. They study you in a particular manner, for a particular time, because they want that particular person to be made made to be utilized for entering into one large network through him and compromise the entire network. You would recollect probably a scam which has happened with Colonial gas pipelines in USA. Colonial oil or gas pipeline is basically a pipeline running across USA from Northern America to Florida to Southern America, and providing most of the states, with the oil supply. This colonial oil network was compromised, and it was compromised later when they audited, and they really tried to find out that why this has happened. They found out that this has happened through spear phishing, and specifically few employees were compromised and their computers were compromised, and through them they got into the entire network, and that network was so badly compromised that they had to pay the ransom billions, and practically they had to pay them. The government intervened, and CIA, which is basically their investigating agency, and FBI, both of them had to intervene and get some money back. Could get some money back, but that's the kind of compromise you may get through with spear phishing. The smishing, as I said, that you may get these kind of text messages. I've given you already an example of an electricity bill example. You may get these kind of messages in relevance with whatever. I mean, if you are a very frequent online buyer, you may get a kind of a message that you are given a particular gift voucher from this particular online site. Please click on this link to avail that voucher. And if you click on that link, you are compromised. Your device is compromised, or probably whatever level of payload that particular link is carrying. We call it a payload because every link is having a different kind of functionality, and that functionality is known as payload. We can, by utilizing these hackers or these threat actors, can utilize your computer, they can utilize your cameras, they can utilize through your computer, they can utilize the entire network. Everything is possible, and to make that possible, they make certain programs which are operatable through these links, and that is why these links are given to you. And if they found out something interesting in that particular, through that particular link, they may try to get in further and take advantage of it, if advantage of the entire process, or otherwise they may leave it upon. This is the kind of a process which normally happens. I have seen people losing. I mean, there is a practice wherein people believe that iPhone or Mac cannot be compromised. A wrong belief. It can also be very easily compromised. So you may receive a smishing scam or a smishing link or a smishing message on any of your computer or any of your mobile phone also. Then you have Google search scams. So this is very dangerous. Do not believe that your Google search scams, I mean, whatever you are searching through a Google search engine, Google search engine, not any other search engines. Google search engine are always good or always authenticated. No, they are not. Very before 2 days, I'll name the resort. There is a resort near Anand which is known as Madhuban Resort. This Madhuban Resort, one of my friend was trying to book one of the most beautiful kind of a resort and a very reputed kind of a resort. One of my friend was trying to book, and that friend went through the Google search engine, found out a number from that link, and called up that number that we are trying to reach you, but we are not able to get through your number. But this number we found from Google, and she was given the payment link. Luckily, she used an American Express card, which didn't work. So she was asked to give another card, and she used an Axis Bank card, which worked. And then again, multiple times she was asked for an OTP, and she got that alert that there's something wrong in this. So she stopped that transaction. And then finally, when connected with the actual Madhuban over the phone call, they said that we know that the 4 such dummy sites are existing and we have already complained about it, but nothing is happening. So please do not trust. I mean, why it is not happening and why there are no actions, let's not discuss that. But please make yourself aware that even Google search engine, the first page, the first 5 links are not safe. Here, the example which is shown to you on the phone is the Venmo sign-in link. Now, Venmo is the most popular kind of a money transfer tool, like our UPI in USA. And if you find the second link on the Google search engine first page as a phishing link, you cannot trust anybody. So be aware of this things available. Be careful about before opening such kind of a thing. Social media scams, of course, there are so many n numbers of social media dummy accounts are available, fake accounts are available on every platform. I'm not discussing too much on this. You all are aware of this, but be aware of these fake accounts and do not fall prey to them. QR code scans. So these QR codes are now prevailing every now and then. Even my visiting card also carries a QR code. So everywhere you would find a QR code, and if you scan that QR code, make sure that you are heading to a right site, a correct site. Otherwise, it may lead you to something which is fake, and you may end up giving your data wrongly, or you may end up losing money on that fake link which is being provided to you through this QR code. The last one is phishing. Phishing is voice phishing. Everybody knows about this. You all must have seen the Jamtada on OTT platform, and there are such 15 notorious places across India. Few of them are Jamtada, Lu, and somewhere near Bharatpur, and so many places. So these places are basically you get a call, and wherein people, just to cite a small example, earlier there used to be stock linked insurance schemes which offered you 3 installments, and those 3 installments, pardon me,
Excuse me, please make sure that there's nobody else who has the mic on. Excuse me.
Yeah, all right, thank you. So these kind of instances happen, and you may receive a kind of a call that your one last installment is still pending, and if you pay that installment, probably you will get your money back. Otherwise, you will not get your money back. But practically, that thing is not there. But they still have all your data, and they try to phish you over that data. talking to you over the phone, talking to you in a very nice, sophisticated manner, and that's what the wishing is all about. Jamtada is a very famous, known example of this thing. So that's wishing, wishing example, and I mean the only way I would rather advise you to remain away from any wishing kind of an attempt is that keep on asking questions. Somebody may call you and tell you that he or she is your bank's relationship manager, because nowadays there is a fashion of having relationship manager from every bank. And you may get a call like that I am your relationship manager speaking. Keep on asking questions. You would rather probably understand that this guy is not in a position to give you proper answers. So if you find that guy fumbling at any of your questions, you would take it as an input to you that he or she may not be the right person. So do not do any kind of transactions with them. And in case if you are really keen on doing a transaction over the phone, you better tell them that, please disconnect. I will call you from my side on the proper number which is given to you from your bank, and then communicate with the right person. All those things are very much important. I have already mentioned those things. Enable multi-factor authentications. Check the address, your email address and your URL which you are doing. You can call and verify, as I said, and look at the style of the message, what type of text it is used, if it is not in a very sarcastic manner. So public Wi-Fi, I have already warned you that do not use public Wi-Fi. In case if you are in a real sense of urgency to use public Wi-Fi, if you have a VPN installed in your device, try and use a VPN to get through those kind of Wi-Fi's. So this I am skipping, and I am coming to this last slides. In case if you are happening to be a victim of any such kind of an incidents, then there is a beautiful portal which has been launched by Government of India. It is named as National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal. This is cybercrime.gov.in. So you can definitely go, in case of all the kind of precautions and everything, whatever you take, you or somebody known to you may fall prey or may become a target of these kind of threat hunters, because they are far ahead than what we may think of even. So if this happens, if you become a victim to any of such incidents, please go to cybercrime.gov.in and report your complaint. There is a file a complaint button on the right hand of mine, of course your side also. Please click on it and file a complaint with the details that whatever has happened to you. Why I am suggesting this, that if you are not doing this, the threat hunters will continue roaming around free. It's not that if you lodge only the complaint, they would be caught hold of. No, that's not the case. But definitely, once you start lodging the complaints, more and more complaints are being lodged. At least a pattern is being observed by the people, those who are monitoring these crimes, and that would help them, to identify the threat hunters. There are IP networks which are always being monitored. There are always a track going on that how many IPs or how many servers are there in the Indian environment, and all those IPs are secured, open, not. All those kind of investigations are already continuously under the process by the government agencies. But if the crimes are not being reported, then they would probably not be in a position to take appropriate actions in appropriate time. So it is always advisable to take immediate actions and report a crime in whatever manner it is. Maybe 100 rupees crime, maybe 1,000 rupees crime, or maybe lakhs of rupees crime. Or even of not a financial crime, maybe some other some bullying, cyberbullying, or some sextortion, or some whatever. I am unable to cover all the topics in this session because of the constraint of the time. But there are a few other topics also which we would be talking about in future if things may permit. You may also call 1930. These both are equivalent. They are both are landing into the same office. Both the actions are the similar and the same, but the number is 1930. You may either go to the website cybercrime.gov.in and register a complaint, or you may call 1930 and register a complaint. Both are initiating the same actions. The actions also, I would advise in a nutshell that when they register all the details, they pass on those details to your local cybercrime police station, and that local cybercrime police station will be in touch with you to understand the details and further, and they take immediate actions. So these kind of things are very much important, and you must register a complaint either on the portal or on 1930. If you are losing somewhere on your banking portion, or if you're losing financials, I mean, if you're losing money, then the immediate registration of a complaint may help you, because if you register a complaint within 24 hours to your bank and even to RBI also, there are chances that if you lost the money also, probably the bank would block that money and would try to recover that money for you. And there are instances wherein people have received thousands and lakhs of rupees returned also by the from the banks itself. The complaint to the cybercrime and complaint through the cybercrime national portal is a different thing. But if you report that thing immediately to your banks also, you may get your money back in not probably not the full, but at least in part, you may get your money back. So these are very important aspects which I thought I would touch upon. This is I am Kaushik Pandya. This is my email ID, kaushik@kalpsystems.com, and this is my phone number, 98250-31502. You can also register, one more thing, last thing, that you can also register complaints, or you can also register instances on our website, that is kalpsystems.com, and we would try and help you out, right? So I'm all done, Nakulji, and thank you so much. I am open for any questions in case if you have.
Yes, sir. I would request the committee to send over any questions if there's any. And firstly, I would just like to mention that your session has definitely superseded the introduction. It was a wonderful session. Gained too much of knowledge myself. I've almost finished up a lot of place in my own diary. I've written so much out of your session, and definitely it was a lot of enlightenment, especially for our own passwords. I mean, we also make certain mistakes that we think is usual in our day-to-day life. So I formally thank you on behalf of the CPE committee, and I formally thank the entire team working behind this. The first half of the session comes to an halt, and now we'll move to the second session. But before we move to the second session, it is only fair that we introduce the vice chairman of the CPE committee. CA Gyanchand Mishra is the vice chairman of the CPE committee and the chairman of the Committee on Insolvency and Bankruptcy of ICAI. Presently, he is serving the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as a Central Council member and also the convener of the Tender Monitoring Directorate of ICAI. He has more than 24 years of professional standing to his credit as an established chartered accountant. Under his vision, this year CPE committee is taking new initiatives for members, and I personally say that he is one of the finest gentlemen that I have come across, and I'm really thankful that I got an opportunity to introduce CA Gyanchand Mishra ji. I would request CA Gyanchand Mishra ji to enlighten, welcome the entire board, the welcome address, and his words of wisdom shall enlighten all of us. Gyan sir, over to you.
So thank you, Nakul Bhai, very respected speaker of the today's program, CA Kamal ji, and of course Pandya ji, Secretary Ajit Nath Tiwari ji, and very respected participants who have joined virtually. Good evening to one and all. Friends, we all know that as a custom, CP committee is organizing 2 hours unstructured CPR program on every Wednesday, and all the programs are very contemporary to the area of practice. And in that series today, we have 2 sessions. One of Pandya ji, which is just finished, regarding precautions under cybersecurity, and the other one by Kamal bhai, and that is basically intricacies of the director's report. And we all know that this is the time when we have to take a lot of precautions with respect to the cyber security. Lot of mishappening to the persons, whether literate or illiterate, is happening in and around to the each corner of the world. I will not say in our country only. And with respect to the corporate law, which is very core to the heart of chartered accountants in respect of practice. And now we all know that ROC reports are to be submitted. So no other time could have been more suitable than to organize one good RA program of Kamal bhai. And I'm sure that these both programs will benefit and enrich the members to keep themselves abreast about the ROC provisions, and of course, most importantly, about the cyber security. Friends, keep connected to the committee. We are looking for various, articles, various write-ups for the committee. And if someone is ready to speak on any topic which could be interest of the members, they may also kindly write to the Secretary of the committee, Ajitnath Tiwari ji. I'll not take much time as the speaker is amongst us. But friends, the dimension of the profession is changing very dynamically, and we have to cope up with it. Not only area practices, direct tax, corporate law, and indirect tax, but nowadays lot of new horizon of practices coming up. We have to open our arms to welcome them. And trust me, the time has come when we have to go for networking as well. Because until unless we do good networking with the peer firms, probably lot of facts and lot of professional opportunity we might miss in our professional career. So with all these words, I once again welcome to both learned speaker and moderator of today's program, Nakul Arora, who is my younger brother and who is always available for the profession 24/7. By these words, I will conclude, and once again, I welcome one and all, including the speakers, moderators, and participants, and thankful to Ajitnath Tiwari ji for his untiring effort to make this webinar successful on every Wednesday. So thank you one and all, and Rajit ji, thank you very much for your untiring effort for the program.
Sir, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Though I was telling, sir, initially, sir, I was telling to participants as well and the faculties also. Though, sir, you are very busy, but, of course, every time on request, you are, taking out the time to, of course, to organizing these seminars as well as to addressing to the participants. It's a very much motivating for us, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ajit ji. Thank you, Kamal bhai and Pandya sir, for your valued time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That was CA Gyanchand Mishra ji, the Vice Chairman of the CPE committee. And I'm really thankful for his time that he has pulled out of his busy schedule. And now it's time that we introduce the second speaker of the session. He is a first-class Commerce Bachelorate from the Deen Dayal Upadhyay College, University of Delhi. He has also done Diploma in Information Systems Audit, conducted by ICAI. He has also addressed on IFRS for the members of the National Board of Accountants and Auditor, Tanzania, East Africa. He possesses a rich industry experience in areas of corporate laws, which is like Companies Act, FEMA, taxation, foreign collaborations, joint ventures, etc., audits and management consultancy. He has a very vast profile, but again, these words are short to introduce the character of CA Kamal Garg. I've always been enlightened by him, and thank you so much. You've really matured me as a chartered accountant so many times. We've learned how to have the right best practices for our practice. So with these words, I would like to invite CA Kamal Garg for his very important session. Can we please have CA Kamal Garg? Sir, you are muted right now.
Thank you, Nakulji, and good evening to each one of the listener listening me. I'm thankful to CP committee, especially Ajay Tiwari ji for inviting me to this program. Pragya Tyagi ji for taking all the pains of keeping me in touch about webinar link and all the other infrastructure facilities. And I'm thankful to the chairman and the vice chairman of this CP committee as well. Before I share my screen, because in my past experience, I had learned that most of the participants look forward to the copy of PPT. I don't know whether copy of PPT will be given to you or not, but before I share my screen, I must ask you a question. The question is whether auditors are required to sign director's report. So keep this question in mind, whether auditors are required to sign director's report or not. And let me change my question a bit. The question is whether auditors are required to consider director's report for their audit report. These are two different questions, which I must say at a macro level seem similar. I will share my screen and I can give you this kind of assurance that at the end of my speech, you will be having a great value addition. And especially in these times when we are finalizing the director's report or advising the clients in signing the director's report. So with the permission of Nakulji, can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
I believe my PPT must be visible to each one of the audience.
Yes, sir. It's there.
So this is a topic given to me, considerations while drafting director's report, and what I will be covering in length these questions. And before I give commentary on these questions, I pose these questions before the House. Question number one is whether director's report is prepared based on standalone financial statements or consolidated financial statements. This is my question number one. Question number second is there any responsibility on the auditors vis-a-vis the director's report? That's why I asked my question before I started sharing my screen. Whether we need to sign the director's report as an auditor or we need to consider director's report when I sign my auditor's report. And question number third is who shall be the signatory on director's report? Question number four, a very pertinent and important question. Is there any separate requirement for contents of the director's report for small companies? My next question is can director's report be exist? And lastly, had any panel actions been regulators for faulty director's report? I must tell you out of my experience that most of the corporate houses are not that much sincere and serious about director's report. I must bring this thing to the light of the audience. I take this platform committee to enlighten you that in past, registrar of companies has taken several penal actions against the officers in default and the company for faulty director's report. I will share some of the instances as well. So let us discuss one by one. So the entire content of director report comes from section number 134. I repeat, the entire content of director report comes from section 134. So section number 134 is the parent section of director's report, and more importantly, you can take a note of this thing. Section number 134 is contained in chapter number 9 of Companies Act. Chapter number 9 of Companies Act deals with companies' accounts, regulations, rules, etc., etc. So chapter 9 is the main parent. In that main parent, this sub-parent is section 134 dealing with the board's report. Now just see what subsection 3 says. Subsection 3 of section 134 says, I pointed out, subsection 3 of section 134 says that the report of board of directors shall be attached to the balance sheet laid before the AGM. I have highlighted the words attached to the balance sheet laid before the AGM. See the word attached. Please take a note, the word used is attached, not annexed. And because the word is attached, it is not a part of your financial statements. I repeat, because the word is attached, it is not a part of financial statements. Or I can say the director's report is not a part of financial statements, and hence the auditors will not be the signatory on the director's report. More importantly, the words used are the sheet laid before the AGM. But you need to understand there is no timeline specified as such as to by when the director's report shall be prepared and presented. For this reason, we have to go to section number 134, subsection 3 of the Companies Act. Now, subsection 3 says that the report of board of directors shall be attached to the balance sheet laid before the AGM, meaning that by timeline specified under section number 96 for conducting the AGM needs to be applied integrally to section 134.3 as well, meaning thereby the timeline for preparation and submission of director's report will be 6 months from the end of the financial year, or as the case may be, depending upon when your AGM is going to be held. Now, what we need to understand further, we have section number 179, subsection 3, clause G. We know very well that financial statements and the director's report need to be board meeting. Now, the question arises whether this board meeting can be conducted through circulation mode, or whether approval of board report can be delegated to any committee. Answer is a no. Section number 179, subsection 3, clause G specifically says that this approval cannot be done by circulation or by any committee thereof. Other question which arises is whether the director's report which is approved, needs to be filed with ROC by filing MGT 14. Answer is yes, answer is no also. So all the companies are not required. To file MGT 14 with respect to approval of board report. It is only the public companies which are required. And for this purpose, we have to go into section number 117, subsection 3, clause G of the Companies Act. Now, what this section says is that the board resolution approving the financial statement and the board report, I emphasize the words board report, should be filed with ROC in form MGT 14. However, this requirement is not required to be complied with in case of private companies, because private companies are exempted from the clutches of this section by MC notification dated 5th June 2015. In my personal experience, I have observed that even most of the public companies are not filing MGT 14 service board report approval. So I would request the House and the listeners to take a note of this thing, that if you are a public company and you are drafting the report for a public company, then once the board of directors report is approved, you have to file the same with ROC in form number MGT 14, and this is not coming out of section 134. This is coming out of section number 173G of the Companies Act. Now, question arises, who will sign the board report? For this purpose, we have subsection 6. Subsection 6 of section 134 says the board report and any annexures. For example, annexure could be your details about transactions with parties related. For example, in case of listed companies, it could be BRSR report and so on. So board report and any annexures thereto shall be signed by its chairperson, that is the chairperson of the company, if he is so authorized by the board, and where he is not so authorized, shall be signed by at least 2 directors, one of whom shall be managing director, or by the director where there is only 1 director. So quite simple, that board report and annexures thereto shall be signed by the chairperson when the chairperson is so authorized. If there is no chairperson being authorized, then it shall be signed minimum by 2 directors, of which at least 1 shall be the managing director. And if there is no managing director, then in that very case, that only 1 director who is available. So ultimately, one thing is crystal clear. The crystal clear thing is that board report is not required to be signed or approved by the statutory auditors. One question I will keep on a deferral mode, whether director report is having any connection with the audit report or not. That I will discuss in the end, not now. Now, having said that, let me proceed further. Question arises, what are the contents of board report or director's report as a common parlance? To understand the contents of board's report, we can deep dive into 4 segments. Segment number 1, regular contents, which are given by section number 134, subsection 3. Then is prescribed contents. Prescribed contents are given by Rule 8 and Rule 8A of the Companies Accounts Rules 2014. Then is director's responsibility statement, which is given by section number 134, subsection 5. These first 3 limbs are from Companies Act, and that too directly from section number 134. But in other various sections of the Companies Act, there are requirements about board. We will discuss those in the heading other contents. So primarily 4 segments are there to be discussed for the contents of board report. 3 segments are coming directly out of section 134 and 4 segment is from other various sections of the companies. Now let us discuss regular contents, section number 134 subsection 3. So section number 134 subsection 3 says the board report shall contain the following, and it is quite obviously that these contents will come into the report to the extent they are applicable upon your company. Number 1 is web address, if any, of annual return. Earlier days, what was required to give the extract of the annual return. Now that requirement is not there. You have to give web address, and that too if you have the website, and you have to give the link of annual return there too. And number of board meetings held during the year. Then director responsibility statement. Now section number 134 subsection 3 clause C says that your board report must have director's responsibility statement. But what are the contents of director's responsibility statement are given by section number 134 subsection 5. And that is why if I go to the previous clip, director responsibility statement is a separate content to be discussed. Then clause CA, details in respect of frauds reported by auditors to the board. I would request the audience to take a note. We have section number 143 subsection 12. Under section number 143 subsection 12, if any fraud has taken place or is likely to take place in the company, which is committed or is likely to be committed by the employees or officers of the company, then such fraud will be reported by the auditors to the board if the amount involved is less than rupees 1 crore. If it is more than equal to rupees 1 crore, then it will be reported to central government. So what we are supposed to understand here, the details in respect of frauds reported by auditors to the board. So what under 143.12 are reported to the board by the auditors will be disclosed in the board report as well. Then number D, a statement on declaration given by independent directors, and that too under section 149.6. Now section 149.6 deals with declaration of independence to be given by the independent directors. This section requires that the independent directors have to give a declaration that they are independent. Whatever this declaration is coming up, this declaration needs to be discussed in board report, and that will be disclosed in clause number D. Then clause number E, policy for appointing directors only if the company is covered by section 178. Section 170 deals with nomination and remuneration committee. So if your company is having nomination and remuneration committee, then obviously you must be having policy for appointing directors. So you have to give a brief of that policy over here. Then is number 5, explanations or comments by the board on every qualification, reservation, or adverse remark or disclaimer in the report by auditor or CSP. CSP means company secretary in practice. I would ask this question to the audience, and I would request Nakul ji to take the answer on record and tell me the answers, what the answers are coming up, if any. The word used is auditor here. Clause number F says, if there is any reservation or a qualification or an adverse remark or a disclaimer remark made in the report by the auditor or the company secretary, then as the board members, you have to disclose the same and you have to report the explanations with respect to the same in the report. My question to the house is, when we say the word auditor, who is covered here? Statutory auditor, cost auditor, internal auditor, tax auditor. Because as far as company secretary is concerned, he is covered separately. CSP is company secretary in practice. So what is the meaning of an auditor over here? So take a note, the word auditor here will mean statutory auditor and cost auditor. Why statutory auditor? By virtue of section number 139 read with section 141. I repeat, the word auditor here will include statutory auditor by virtue of section 139 read with section number 141. And number second, very important point, the word auditor here will also include cost auditor. Please take a note, section number 148 subsection 5. By virtue of section number 148 subsection 5, this word auditor will also include the word cost auditor. And time permits, you can deep dive into these sections to get the details. Then is number G, loans, guarantees, or investments under section number 186. 186 section deals with intercorporate loans and investments. So if you have given some loan or a guarantee, or you have made some investments in another companies or body corporates as the case may be, then you have to give the details of the same in the board report. Please take a note. This clause number G, loans, guarantees, or investments under section 186 shall match with the corresponding disclosures made in notes to accounts. Because in notes to accounts, this information will be appearing under related party disclosures, or it will be disclosed separately by virtue of section number 186 itself. So section number 186 says that you have to disclose in the notes to accounts. Section number 134.3G says that you have to disclose the same in director's report also. In my experience, I have found that in general, this information is having a mismatch. Notes to accounts are telling a different story, and director report is telling a different story. So you should be very careful that loans, guarantees, or investments, which are inter-corporate loans, guarantees, and investments, shall be matching on both the sides. That is director's report as well as notes to accounts. That is contracts or arrangements with related parties. Please remember, from clause number A to clause number G, whatever disclosures you are making, these disclosures are plain disclosures. No specified format is there. But in respect of contracts or arrangements with related parties, you have to make the disclosures in board report, but in a specified format. And the format is given by form AOC2. You have to be very careful that for this clause number H, a specified format is there for AOC2, but for other clauses from A to G, there is no specified format. So you can use your plain literature. Next, clause number I, state of company's affairs. Number J, amount if any it proposes, it means the board proposes to carry to any reserves. Clause number K, amount if any which it recommends should be paid by way of dividend. Number L, very, very important. Post balance sheet events. Post balance sheet events, meaning thereby, suppose that you are signing the board report on, let us assume, 31st August 2023. Now, whatever material changes and commitments have taken place that may affect the financial position of the company, and these material changes and commitments have taken place after 31st March 2023 till 31st August 2023, you need to disclose the same in the board report. In most of the companies, I have seen that this post balance sheet events information is not disclosed in your director's report. Please take a note. I would request the audience and even the moderator note this thing, because this could be a question of audience at a later stage. This clause number L is having an access with CARO 2020. Please take a note. Para number 3, subpara number 19. Para number 3, subpara number 19 requires the auditors, that is statutory auditors, to report about going concern of the enterprise, Now, when we say you have to report as an auditor about going concern of the enterprise, the law says in CARO that this going concern shall be reported as on the date of audit report. That means even that para number 319 is going post balance sheet events. So that information in CARO para 319 should be consistent with the disclosure which the board will be making in this clause number L. So it needs to be matched with para 319 of CARO 2020. That is number M. Board need to disclose about conservation of energy, technology absorption, foreign exchange earnings. Then number N, risk management policy, including identification therein of element of risk. In my experience, this clause number N is the most contravened clause. Risk management policy in general, I have not found in, especially the small companies audit directors report. And see very carefully, including the identification therein of element of risk. Just immediately before my session, I was listening the speech of our learned speaker regarding the Cyber Awareness Week. Now, don't you think that this cyber risk is a kind of risk that can affect your business? And for this purpose, you must have a risk management policy. And for that reason, this risk management policy must be disclosed in the director's report. The cyber risk is there, business risk is there, liquidity risk is there, foreign exchange risk is there. All these risks must have a risk management policy, and that need to be disclosed in the director's report by virtue of clause number N. And clause number O, CSR policy. Number P, statement and evaluation of performance of the board. Now be very careful. statement of evaluation of performance of the board, entire board performance evaluation, evaluation of performance of committees, whatever committees are there, like audit committee, remuneration committee, as well as individual directors. Now, when we say individual directors, this will include not only the regular directors, but independent directors also, nominee directors also. But this clause number P need to be disclosed in the board report of only the listed companies or such public companies which are having paid up share capital of more than rupees 25 crores in the preceding financial year. You see, public companies having paid up share capital of more than rupees 25 crores in the preceding financial year. We need to be very, very careful that this clause number P is not required to be reported by the private companies. But I have seen in the real world, some of the private companies are also reporting about statement of evaluation, which is not required to be made by them. It is required only for listed companies and certain class of public companies. And then is lastly number of other prescribed matters. These other prescribed matters are given by Rule 8, which we will discuss separately. Now, let me come to some special pointers. Special pointers number 1, no repetition is required. First proviso of section number 134, subsection 3 states that the disclosures referred to in this subsection have been included in the financial statements. Such disclosures shall be referred to instead of being repeated in the board report. So there is no need to have a repetition. For example, let me come back. Loan guarantees or investments under section 186. These are already disclosed in notes to accounts. So what you will do in the director report, you will simply give the heading loans, guarantees, or investments under section 186. After this, we'll give a description, refer note number XYZ of notes to accounts. But the same thing cannot be done. For clause number H, that is guarantees or arrangement, that is contracts or arrangements with RPs. Why this we cannot do? Because it is having a prescribed form AOC2. So meaning thereby, for those elements of the board report, which are already covered by notes to accounts, other than clause number H, there is no need to repeat, only a reference. The disclosures referred to in this subsection have been included in the financial statements. Such disclosures shall be referred. So you cannot avoid, you have to refer. Refer means cross reference. So we'll make a cross reference to the notes to account. That is given by first proviso. Now, second proviso says, where the policy on director's appointment, and CSR is available on the website. Director appointment policy here. If I go back, section number 178 with respect to 134(3)(e), and then this O about CSR policy. So these two elements need not be given in your board report, provided the policy for the same is available on the company's website. And if it is so, then what you are required to do, you have to give only the salient features of the policy and any changes therein in brief in board report and the web address. So entire repetition is avoided here also, provided the same thing is available on website. So here you will give a brief only and changes if any. So what are the prescribed contents? Prescribed contents are divided into two parts. Prescribed contents for 1% company and small company, and for other than 1% company and small company. This left hand side is Rule 8, which is dealing with the prescribed contents for other than OPC and small company, and Rule 8 is for 1% company and small company. Now Rule 8 says for companies other than 1% company and small company, the following additional elements must also be there in the board report. I repeat, the following additional elements must also be there in the board report. Number 1, board report shall be prepared based on the standalone financial statements. So this resolves this question. Question number 1, whether director's report is prepared on standalone basis or consolidated basis. Answer is very simple now. As per Rule 8, the board report shall be prepared based on the standalone financial statement. This thing is common even for small company and 1% company. Now you have to provide highlights of performance of subsidiaries, associates, and joint venture as an additional element for other than OPC and small company. The same thing is not required for 1% company and small company. Then you have to give financial summary or highlights, changes in nature of business, details of changes in directors and KMPs, but the same element is not required to be given for 1% company and small company. Then you have to give disclosures about statement regarding opinion of the board with regard to integrity, expertise, and experience, including the proficiency of independent directors appointed during the year. So you have to give a kind of biodata description of independent directors who are appointed during the year. But the same thing is not applicable for one-person company and small company. Then details relating to deposits, whatever deposits were accepted, whatever deposits have been matured, interest, and all other things, they need to be given as an additional element in rule number 8 for other than OPC and small company, but the same thing is not applicable for one-person company and small company. Here I need to give you a precaution. This information, details related to deposits, must match with the reporting made by auditors in para 3 sub para 5 of CARO. So in CARO 2020, para 3 sub para 5 deposits are reported for, and that same details need to be disclosed in director's report also. That is rule number 8. I must bring to the notice of all the people listening me. CARO is not applicable for one-person company and small company, and that's why this is also not applicable to OPC and small company. Now, what are the additional elements? For regular companies, you have to disclose the companies which have become or ceased to be subsidiaries, JVs, or associates during the year. The same details are not applicable for one-person company and small company. Then you have to disclose significant and material orders passed by the regulators or courts or tribunals impacting the going concern status and company's operations. The same thing is also required for one-person company and small company. Now be very careful. You need to match this information. You need to match this information with notes to accounts, contingent liabilities, plus para number 3, subpara number 7, and para number 3, subpara number 19 of CARO 2020. I repeat, this information you need to match with notes to accounts for contingent liabilities, number 1. Number 2, para number 3, subpara number 7, and para number 3, subpara number 19 of CARO 2020. Para 3, subpara 7 of CARO 2020 deals with reporting for statutory dues. Para number 3, subpara number 19 deals with reporting for going concern status. Then additional element is disclosures as to compliance with the COST rules. COST stands for Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace. Then application made or any proceeding pending under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. The same information is not required for one-person company and small company. Then details of difference between the amount of valuation done at the time of OTS. OTS means one-time settlement, and the valuation done while taking loan from the banks or financial institutions along with the reasons. So basically it deals with the haircut disclosure. The same haircut disclosure is not required for one-person company and small company. Now, before I discuss director responsibility statement, I need to go back with the same questions. But the question is there a separate requirement for contents of director's report of small companies? Answer is yes. Rule 8A describes the separate contents for small companies. My question to the house is, go to Rule 8A. Rule 8A says that certain elements are applicable or are not required with respect to one-person company and small company. Question arises for the house, and I will take this liberty to ask this question to my friend Nakulji also, whether the board of small company can voluntarily give information about all these contents.
Last word, sir. Can I just ask you to repeat the last word?
I repeat my question.
Yeah.
We have just observed Rule 8A is specifying certain contents which are not meant for small company and one-person company. Those contents which are not meant for OPC and small company, can these contents voluntarily be given by the board of these companies in the board report?
Voluntaries, I would say yes. Voluntarily, they can give the summaries and details if they want to.
Logically, answer should be yes. Logically, answer should be yes. But strictly legally, answer is no. I repeat, strictly legally, answer is no. Voluntarily, you cannot give. Why? Let me show you. Nakulji, I am switching over my screen. Just confirm me once the different screen is visible or not. Are you able to see the different screen?
Yes, sir. Prescribed contents. I can see.
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. Yes, I can see.
And should be included in board report for one-person company and small company. See the words. The board report of OPC and small company shall be prepared on the basis of standalone financial statement. To that extent, we are okay. Now, what they are saying, which shall be in abridged form and contain the following. The word is shall be in abridged form. That means long director report is not allowed for OPC and small company. You have to give the abridged board report only. This is
The
what
word
the
is shall,
strict
sir.
and legal. So be very careful. I am saying on a lighter note, but yes, this could be ground reality also. Normally, what I have seen the practice is people download the board report of big companies and then they will adapt their format to their own circumstances. Adaptation of their format to your own circumstances could be good, but those circumstances may not be the legal circumstances for you. So be very careful, otherwise the legal troubles may happen. Now, other thing is director's responsibility statement, section number 134.5. Please try to recollect. I told you that the requirement of giving DRS, that is director responsibility statement, is given by section number 134, subsection 3, clause number C. If I go back here, but the contents of DRS are not given by this clause C, and for this purpose we have to jump to section 134.5. Now, what does section 134.5 says? Very important section. The section says directors have to give a statement that they are responsible for number one, compliance of applicable accounting standards or Ind AS as the case may be, and they have explained all the material departures there. Number second, they have to give a statement that they are responsible for selection and application of accounting policies which they have applied consistently. They are also responsible for judgments and estimates which are reasonable and prudent, and the financial statements of the company are giving a true and fair view. Number C, they have to give us responsibility statement that they are responsible for taking proper and sufficient care for maintenance of adequate accounting records, safeguarding the assets of the company, and for preventing and detecting fraud and other irregularities. Then they have to give a responsibility that annual accounts have been prepared on a going concern basis. Number E, they have to give a declaration as a responsibility, but only in case of listed company. So in case of a listed company, DRS will have this element also, that the board has laid down internal financial controls which are adequate and were operating effectively. And lastly, which is worded in a lighter way, but is very important. The board has to give a responsibility statement that they have devised proper systems to ensure compliance with the provisions of all. See the word all applicable laws and adequate and operating effectively. Now the word uses all. The word all applicable laws will include all the laws which are available on this planet in the country India that can impact the company ABC Limited. And for this purpose, the word all is assuming a special significance. Generally, people do hire experts to evaluate or to have a due diligence of whatever laws could be applicable on the company. Now, what does at this is, auditors do take management representation letters. Now, in general, my experience had been the management representation letter is not covering all these aspects. All these aspects, if I share as an example, one of the aspects which is not in MRL, not in all the cases, but in general, is that they are not having any explanation related to material departures. Plus, there is no written representation about all the applicable laws. But the statement they are writing, we are responsible for all the applicable laws, but they are not listing, but all laws are applicable upon. So simply a statement is given in MRL that they are responsible for all the applicable laws, but the list of applicable laws is not given. So this is an, and we need to be very careful as an auditors also, as advisor also. Now, what we discussed up till now was the parent section 134. If I go back again, we have discussed 1, 2, and 3. But I told you in the beginning that there are other contents also. These other contents are taken care of from other sections of the Companies Act. So let us discuss those other contents as well. Other contents are coming from section number 197, subsection 12 over here. So section number 197, subsection 12 requires some disclosures about employees' remuneration in the board report. What it says, every listed company shall disclose. So whatever I am discussing here is applicable for only listed company. Every listed company shall disclose in the board report the following. Number one, the ratio of remuneration. What is the meaning of remuneration? We'll see here. ratio of remuneration of each director to the median remuneration of the employees. Number second, percentage increase in remuneration of each director. Each here will include all the directors, CFO, CEO, company secretary or manager. Number third, percentage increase in median remuneration of employees in the financial year. So you have to do some mathematics because mean, median, mode theories are coming in. An average percentile increase be made in the salaries of the employees other than the managerial personnel in the last financial year and its comparison with the percentile increase in the managerial remuneration. Then affirmation that remuneration is a remuneration policy. So the word remuneration is coming as a quite common word over here. What is the meaning of remuneration? Remuneration word is defined by section number 2, clause 78 of the Companies Act. What it says, remuneration is any money or its equivalent given or passed to any person for services rendered by him and includes perquisites as defined under Income Tax Act. In my experience of the real world, what I found, this information generally is given as a written information. Because what the companies are doing, companies are calculating this remuneration on the basis of what is getting reflected in financial statements. But this remuneration also includes perquisites as defined under Income Tax Act. So you have to take the perks value here. Like for example, a company has given car to a director. That car given to a director will be a part of remuneration, but the value of that car being a perquisite shall be based upon Income Tax Act. And for that very purpose, the remuneration in the director's report will be different from the remuneration which you are disclosing in financial statement. And that is why I'm saying in real world, we have to be very attentive and we have to be very careful that how the things are moving in a direction. So what I need to bring to the light here is the word remuneration is not a plain word. It needs to derive not only the regular remuneration, but the value of perquisites as per Income Tax Act. Similarly, if I go to the next clip, this is applicable to all the companies. If you see details of top 10 employees, and this is applicable to all the companies, section number 197.12. Earlier it was 197.12, rule 5.1 of companies appointment and remuneration and managerial personal rules. Now it is rule 5.2. What the rule says, the board report shall include, so this is applicable to all. Board report shall include a statement showing the names of top 10 employees in terms of remuneration drawn and the name of every employee who, number one, if employed throughout the financial year, was in receipt of remuneration for that year, which in aggregate was not less than 1 crore 2 lakh rupees. If employed for part of the year, the remuneration was not less than 8,50,000 rupees per month. If employed throughout the financial year or part thereof, as the case may be, was in receipt of remuneration in that year, which in aggregate, or as the case may be, at a rate which in aggregate is in excess of that drawn by MD or whole-time director or manager. And this word "and" is very important. And who holds by himself or along his spouse and dependent children not less than 2% of equity income. So these details are required to be given for top 10 employees in the board report of all the companies. Next, details of employees who are not directors or relatives posted outside. This is from rule number 5.3. So proviso to rule 5.3 says, have to give in the board report the details of employees who are not directors or relatives outside India shall not be given in the board report even if the remuneration exceed 5 lakh rupees per month. However, such details should be given to the registrar while filing financial statement and the board report. However, such particulars shall be given to any member on request in writing. So this information need not be given in board report, but you have to give this information while filing the board report to the registrar. Now, these details can be requested by members also. If the request is being made by the member, that is shareholder in writing, then such details should be given within 3 days if request is made before AGM. If request is read after AGM, the particular shall be given within 7 days. So this is a very simple provision, not a complicated one. Number 4, fourth clip over here. You have to disclose the composition of audit committee and their recommendations not accepted by the board. This is also a content of the board report by virtue of subsection 8 to section number 177. Then you have to disclose about visual mechanism if applicable upon you, section number 177 subsection 10. Then you have to disclose information about nomination and remuneration committee, proviso to section 178.4. You have to disclose information about managing director or whole-time director who is receiving remuneration or commission from holding company or subsidiary company. subsection 14 of section 197, disclosure of ESOP and sweat equity shares issued by the company by virtue of Rule 12.9 and Rule 8.13 respectively of company share capital and debentures rules. If you are a listed company, then SEBI LODR will be applicable. LODR stands for Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirements Regulations. What it says, by virtue of Regulation 34 2F, you have to give BRSR. BRSR stands for Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report, and you have to do this report only for top 1,000 listed companies. If you have raised public issue money, right issue money, or a preferential issue money, and the money was raised for X purpose, but it was not used for that purpose, then some deviations or variations must have taken place. So you have to give the statement of deviations and variations for public issue, right issue, preferential issue, etc. And this is required by virtue of Regulation 32.4 of SEBI LODR. So these informations are required in the board report of listed companies only. Now, how the board report will be filed? There can be two modes of filing. One is non-XBRL filing and second is XBRL filing. So if you are falling into any of these 5 categories, then you will file the board report only in XBRL mode. XBRL stands for Extensible Business Reporting Language. The form is EAOC for XBRL. So you will use AOC for XBRL form only. So who are those companies which are covered by XBRL filing? Number 1, companies listed with stock exchange in India or their Indian subsidiaries. Companies having paid up capital. Be careful, it is paid up capital only. Reserves are not included. Companies having paid up capital of 5 crore rupees or above, and companies having turnover of 100 crores or above, companies complying with the Indian accounting standards, that is Ind AS, and those companies who have already filing XBRL will always be covered. That means once covered, always covered, even if they may not fall under the class of companies specified therein in succeeding years. However, if you are falling into these categories of companies, then XBRL filing of board report is not required. Number 1 is NBFC, that is non-banking financial company. Then is HFC, that is housing finance companies. Then is companies engaged in business of banking, that is banking companies. And lastly, companies engaged in business of insurance, that is insurance companies. Now, other thing is, what is the punishment if you don't comply? So if the requirement meant for board report are not complied with, then punishment can be levied, and the punishment can be on company as well as officer in default. In case of a company, the company shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 3 lakhs. It's a flat penalty, and every officer in default shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 50,000. Again, a flat penalty. Now, section 134.8 is a parent section. It is giving the penalty of this section default. But if the information given in the board report is a misstated information, so if any misstatement is made in the board report, then you can be punished for fraud. Fraud section is, or the punishment for fraud is contained in the section 447. So section 448 says if misstatements are made in the board report, then action under section 447 can take place. And this section 447 deals with punishment for fraud, which involves minimum 3 years of imprisonment. Now, to answer your question, can board report be revised? Answer is yes. The provisions regarding revision of board report are contained in section number 131 of Companies Act and rule number 77 of NCLT rules 2016. This is 2016. I'll make a small correction over here. This is 2016. And for this, we have a judicial precedence also. In individual learning private limited case, it was held that some details which were required to be included in the board report were inadvertently not included. The omissions were not serious in nature. The company has been prompt in annual filings with ROC and statutory courts. Notice was served on ROC, but it did not respond. So generally what happens, NCLT gives you permission to revise the audit report. You have to approach NCLT. And before allowing revision of board report, generally objections are sought from ROC and other authorities. In this case, what happened? No objection was received from ROC. And because no objection was received, so what happened? NCLT allowed the company to revise the board report. Any reactions have taken place? Answer is yes. ROC Chennai, in the case of Kandan Mutual Benefit Saswatha Nidhi Limited, held that I will levy a penalty upon you, that is, company and officers in default for not making post-related disclosures in the board report. Then in Shobhika Impex Private Limited, ROC Chennai slapped a penalty on the company's MD and the directors for incorrect subsidiaries disclosure in the board report. ROC Katak, in the case of Shubhranatha Private Limited, fined the company and whole-time director for omitting DIN in the financials and risk management disclosures. If you try to recollect, I told you in the beginning that risk management policy must be there in the board report. Then in BOC Compressors India Private Limited, ROC Ahmedabad penalizes the company and the officers in default for non-disclosure of energy conservation, technology absorption, and forex earnings and output. Then in two cases, ROC Chennai, in two cases, one is Michelin India Technology Center Private Limited and other one is TBF Nidhi Kumbakonam Limited, levied a penalty for failing to address auditor's reservation. If you try to recollect, I told you, whatever remarks are given by auditor which are qualificatory and words or disclaimer remarks, the explanation is required from the board. And if it is not there, then obviously you can be penalized. RC Kolkata in Kejriwal Castings Limited penalized the company and the officers in default for delayed preparation of audit report and its presentation at AG. So these were the by I asked one, is the right time to now discuss what if there are inconsistencies in board report. For this purpose, you can take a note. We have SS 720. So there can be a situation like the director report is saying that board is not proposing any dividend for the year, but notes to accounts are silent about the dividend disclosure. I repeat, there could be a possibility, for example, the board report is saying that the directors are proposing no dividend for the year, but notes to accounts are silent for any such dividend disclosure. Then what to do? SS 720 says ideally the board report should be received by the auditor at the earliest so that he can check whether any inconsistency is there or not. But in real world, it may happen that board report is not available on the date of signing of audit report. I repeat, it may happen that board report is not available on the date of signing of audit report. In such a case, what to do? For this purpose, SS 720 says you can give this kind of language in the report. If the board report is not available on the date of signing of the audit report, due to which you are not in a position to identify the inconsistencies, what to do? You will come to your audit report, give this heading, other information paragraph, and below this other information paragraph, you will write this paragraph. The company's board of directors is responsible for other information. The other information comprises the board report. X report means board report, but does not include the financial statements and our auditor's report thereon. The board report, X report means the board report. The board report is expected to be made available to us after the date of this auditor's report. So this kind of language can be used so that you are also happy, the board is also happy, and SS 720 is also happy. Other content you can take from SS 720 itself. So you can download SS 720 from ici.org and you can check out this kind of language and the format for SS 720 required. So if I go back to the questions from where this question is whether director's report is prepared on the basis of standalone or consolidated financial statement. Answer is standalone. Is there any responsibility on the auditors vis-a-vis director report? Answer is yes. Responsibility is there by virtue of SA 720. Who shall be the signatory on the director report? Only the directors or the chairperson, as the case may be. Auditors are never the signatory on the director's report. Next is there any separate requirement for contents of director's report of small companies? Answer is yes. It is called as abridged report. Rule 8A of companies accounts rules is there. Then can this report be revised? Answer is yes. For this purpose, we have section number 31 and rule number 77 of NCLT rules. And then had any penal actions taken place in past by regulators for faulty director's report? Answer is yes. I have given you the list of those actions which have been taken by the ROCs in past. So from my side, this is it. Now I welcome the questions if you are having any.
I'm still waiting for the questions, sir, and thank you so much. Actually, just wanted to mention it, sir. Like people have small and big dreams. I have a dream. Once you ask a question, I give the right answer. It's the 5th time in continuous that I've always given the wrong answer. And you set me up for it. Still waiting for the questions. Pragyaji, do we have any questions to sir?
No, Nakulji.
Okay, there seems to be no questions. Any closing remarks, sir?
Closing remarks are only that if we have a practice or a tendency to take the director's report of big companies and then fit it into our circumstances, be very careful because a wrong sleeve can land into trouble. So please don't go into any kind of copy-paste scenario. Please go to the act itself and take the contents to the extent they're applicable to you.
Perfectly said, sir. which brings me towards the end of the session. Do we have Vice Chairman sir on the panel, Pragya ji?
No, Nakulji, thank you, because of course he is in the meeting. So one important information for the information of Kamalji also, sir, your session is well appreciated. We got the feedback, feedback sort of thing I can say, not a question, because it's well elaborated. So we got very good feedback from the participant. And for the information of all participants and Kamalji also, sir, we have that ICI TV. So I think probably by tomorrow onwards, this webinar link will be placed there, so that any member can see this webinar. Now today is live, and of course the recorded version would be there, sir, on ICI TV. So thank you once again, Kamalji, from our side for joining us.
Thank you so
Nakul,
much,
thanks to you
Ajit ji.
also. Nakulji, thanks to you also for moderating this session so wonderfully, because you are from beginning and to the end, you have taken very well. So thanks to you also on behalf of committee. So thanks to all the participants. Nakulji, to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I formally thank both the speakers, the chairman of the committee, the vice chairman, Ajit ji, for being there with this entire session and being in the organization, Pragya Tyagi ji for coordinating with all of us and ensuring that we have our links and videos on time, and the entire team of CPE committee and all the participants. I am thankful. Either you're watching live or maybe you're watching later on. Many thanks to everyone. I formally declare this session closed from here. Thank you very much.